The Black Death is quite punishing in EU5, and if you're playing in the New World, yes, the Great Pestilence may be a bit of an issue as well, but overall, diseases are really not that bad. Now, of course, they should be much worse, but we are not here to talk about population mechanics in EU5, mainly because I already did. Here is the video if you missed it, but today I want to see if we can use EU5 mechanics to make our population immune to all diseases. Or at least that's the later goal. Because we're going to start with something that's a bit more simple. Can we get one province to be 100% resistant to all diseases permanently? So no Black Death temporary buffs, no pest houses or anything like that that will go away. Permanent 100% disease resistance. Well, we can go ahead and play Venice, and we're going to be trying to make the city of Venice itself 100% resistant to all diseases. We can start by building a hospital for 10% disease resistance in the province, and we already start with alchemy research, so that's 5% from that. Then, in the Age of Renaissance, we can grab Anatomy for 5% disease resistance. But it's in the Age of Discovery that we can really pick up the pace. We pick up Lazarettos, which have 25% disease resistance, but can only be built in urban coastal provinces. So to be clear, you need to be a city or a town, which Venice is, and we need to be on the coast, which Venice is. So that's 25% there. But we now figure out what surgery is. So great news, we can now do surgery at the hospital we've built earlier for 5% disease resistance. And well, this is why we selected Venice. For the Magistrato alla Sanitia, I think. My Latin is abysmal, and I'm thinking that's not Latin, that might be Italian, I don't know. But either way, 10% disease resistance. Then, in the Age of Reformation, we pick up Pharmacology for 5% disease resistance. After which, in the Age of Absolutism, we can finally figure out sanitation, as well as, of course, medical schools. And medical schools are great, mainly because we've kind of had a hospital for the last 300 years, so I really don't know where we've been teaching our doctors. But now that we've built medical schools, we can at least retroactively educate all the people that we've had, operating our hospitals. And this is very good for the effectiveness of those hospitals. Maybe, frankly, a bit too much because it has 33% disease resistance, and you can actually build it in any city, so any urban location. It's a town or a city. No requirements beyond that, just have fun. It's really strong, to be honest. 33% disease resistance is very, very good. And I mean, in the Age of Revolutions, we can also pick up vaccination just for fun. We actually don't need this final 5% disease resistance, but it's there. By the Age of Absolutism, we can become conditionally immune to disease within Venice, but this will take us to 108%. Now, some of the more eagle-eyed viewers would have observed that actually the only thing that we are here for Venice is the Age of Discovery, 10% disease resistance, and we've stacked it to 108%. And if we restrict ourselves to only existing in coastal provinces and then only building urban locations on them and then doing the setup, as any country, you can actually get your disease resistance to sit at 98%, which is ludicrous. You don't even need any kind of modifier stacking beyond what the game already provides you, right? Really makes my job easier. Unfortunately, there isn't that final source of the 2% to take you over towards perfect disease resistance for everyone, unfortunately. But okay, this is for urban provinces, right? You probably already know about these lazarettos if you've played the game for any amount of time, to be honest. So you probably know that urban coastal provinces can become quite disease resistant. So that's not really that impressive. Now, what we're here for is some potential way to make the inland rural location something like this, which is usually very, very susceptible to disease. I know, very ironic statement, isn't it? But something like this, an inland rural location, can we get that to be 100% disease resistant? Well, indeed, in every single age, through all 6 ages, we do pick up 5% flat disease resistance everywhere, and that applies to all of our rural locations as well. So already have a baseline of 30% on our rural locations. Not bad, but is there a final source of 70%? Turns out the answer is yes, but it's not in a pretty way, but it's in a very stupid way. It's actually a very stupid thing. I need to show this to you. Muscovy and the Russian countries around it have had a lot of attention from Paradox regarding the release of EU5. They have a lot of content, they've got a lot of unique stuff going on for them. They have a whole page of country bonuses, a whole bunch of mechanics, a whole bunch of government reforms, a bunch of stuff tied to their culture as well, a bunch of even more government reforms, even unique buildings and everything. All of this cool stuff, right? And all of this, well, they need modifiers for it, right? This is the Prikazi government reform, giving possible government reforms +1, meaning that when you unlock this, you want to run this forever, increasing efficiency of your cabinet by 15%, which is going to become very useful soon, giving you some progress towards centralization, which may not actually be the best thing for Russia. They tend to want to remain decentralized until basically the last second, but it's a thing. But of course, it also unlocks the Prikazi cabinet actions. Now, the ones it unlocks it's a whole system, it's a whole unique mechanic for Russia, in my understanding, but it's one of those unique mechanics that may be used for other countries. In essence, you need to, through events, pick which cabinet actions you unlock. And there's a bunch you can do. There's a bunch of unique stuff you can do with these cabinet actions, but we're looking at one very, very specific cabinet action. And the UI is broken. It's not listed in the administrative action, and it's an administrative action. Right, that's actually incredible. How did they just not list in the administrative actions list? So like it's a half functional UI. This is very slightly awkward. But then again, I guess I'm on the beta, so surely this gets fixed very, very soon. Right, I'm just going to show you the game code. So yeah, here it is. This is how I found this modifier initially. This is really, really stupid. You do need to give the aptekarskie prikaz to be established. So you need to, through the events, basically enable this cabinet action. And yes, you need to unlock the actual cabinet action. What does this do? 20% global disease resistance. Flat. Wonderful. Only it's not flat. It's a cabinet action. And you know what cabinet actions are? Well, if we were to pop into the game real quick, they are, of course, affected by cabinet efficiency. Now, we don't have much of it at the moment because we don't have a lot of crown power. Well, I mean, I guess we have a decent chunk of crown power. We just don't have 25% crown power. But if we wanted to do, say, a diplomatic action, and we were to make this gentleman head of cabinet immediately, if we were to change societal values towards centralization here, normally cabinet influence would be, as you can see, 0.14, but it's affected by a lot of efficiency modifiers. Your ruler just having 100 admin would give you 50 cabinet efficiency. The guy in charge of it having 100 admin, in this case we're looking through the domain of dip, my apologies, would give you 50%. There's 100% right there, 25% from head of cabinet. To make 20% disease resistance hit the 70% disease resistance you need to be immune to diseases, you need 350% cabinet efficiency. And any more cabinet efficiency you get above 350% is even more technologies that you technically don't need to research. Now, is 350% end goal cabinet efficiency easy? Absolutely not. Is it doable? That's actually honestly debatable. But in essence, it makes it a Muscovy or Russia cabinet efficiency stacking modifier run. And once you've done that, you can just kind of decide not to have diseases anymore because you're promoting apothecaries. That's my understanding of apteka as a translation. So yeah, that's it. You just kind of tell people, oh, by the way, you guys should buy medicine, and we're like, oh, that's it. We don't have diseases anymore. Thank you. We had all of these massive disease outbreaks, all these people dying, hundreds of thousands of people dying to smallpox. But turns out if we just go buy medicine, we're good now. No extra medicine demand or anything. Just the idea that, oh yes, the apothecaries, they're being promoted. We just promote them so efficiently, all the diseases disappear. And no other actions are needed beyond that. You don't need to invest in hospitals. In fact, if you are doing this build as Muscovy, hospitals are fundamentally a waste of money because hospitals give you 10% disease resistance, but just having your cabinet efficiency at 0, like literally at 0, no buffs, is twice as good as having a hospital everywhere. Because of course it is. Stupid? Absolutely. But in my defense, kind of funny. And finding that was, I will be honest here, one of the bigger reasons for this video. Because yeah, it's not like getting rid of diseases is actually that overpowered. I mean, it should be, but you actually can. And weirdly, this makes it really, really good at colonizing. Now, you may be wondering, why does it make it really good at colonizing? Well, you try and colonize Africa, malaria is going to show up and it's going to absolutely devastate all of your colonies. But if you just promote apothecaries, you're fine, right? All of these malaria-ridden swamps, you can colonize at ease because you've promoted apothecaries. Yep. If you are interested in giving Muscovy a playthrough, well, you can now do a bit of a fun twist to it. You can do a zero disease Muscovy playthrough by just promoting apothecaries. Sorry, it's just so conceptually stupid, isn't it? I mean, I guess if you want to make your life easier, you can do Venice into Russia, and then you can do both things and get the Venice Advance, because the Venice Advances was Muscovy, so you can save yourself a bit of cabinet efficiency there. Well, 50% to be honest. But anyway, that is all the time I have for you today. Thank you very much for watching, with a special thank you to all my channel members, especially Ark, Solus, Lemon, Lord Zendikar, Nikas, Nanhatan, Sasentu, the Awesome Rabbit, Best Gaming, Grandma Flavia, Lebarule, W. Haystov, Anthony35, AC Napo, Conspiracy Pizza, Yukata, Danray, Marvy, Jack, Ryland, Stuart Allen, Andrew Black, Nebula, Zentronic, Twinit, and Aquabird.